Hello friends, Jeff here with episode number 54 of Going Direct. Happy New Year. We haven't seen you for a few weeks, so it's good to be back in the saddle here. 2022 was a fun year, but 2023 I just feel like is going to be extra awesome in the hobby and everywhere else. We're coming up on my 1 year anniversary here at Panini. And I gotta tell you, it has been a wild ride. It was a lot more action-packed than I had ever expected. I'm grateful for it. It's been great meeting so many cool new people, and I'm excited about what 2023 has coming up for us. Since the last episode, we finished up the World Cup. As I mentioned a million times on the show, the World Cup is a really big deal at Panini America. And I have to say, I'm a soccer fan now. I had so much fun watching that and being more invested in the tournament just because of work. And then you kind of start following some of the storylines, and that was really fun. What an amazing finish. I can't imagine, especially for like your casual fan like myself going into the tournament. Boy, that final was incredible. And with Mbappe and Messi both being big hobby darlings, it was a great seeing them both head to head in that final game. Also, if you're not subscribed to the Panini blog yet, please do. I do most of our product releases out on that. But I recently had an opportunity to do a really cool story featuring the young man that pulled the Messi black 1-of-1 sticker, the World Cup stickers that we see everywhere during the World Cup. The black 1-of-1 Messi was pulled by a young man. He's like 19 or 20 years old. I don't want to give everything away because I want you to go read the blog post, but it was a great story. I was just honored to have the opportunity to tell it. But anyways, he went into his local soccer store and bought a box of Panini stickers and may have ended up with the biggest product hit of the entire product. So cool story. Go check that out again. It's on the Panini blog, which is paniniamerica.net/blog, and it'll be one of the top stories, I think. Okay, so 2023 is going to be a busy year for releases. I'm told we are just jumping right into it. The first week, not crazy busy, but starting next week, it's going to be a lot busier. I think we have at least 3 hobby releases next week. This week we have 1 hobby release. Actually, let me hit these first. We have 2 first off the line releases this week. We have National Treasures Baseball, and we have Spectra Football, which looks super cool. I'm really becoming a huge Spectra fan. In the past I was kind of like, it's cool, but you know, I wouldn't go after it over like a Prism or an Optic, or certainly like I love Court Kings and National Treasures. There's a lot of brands there that I love, but Spectra is now putting himself in that kind of group of brands for me. And then finally this week we have 1 hobby release, XR Football. XR Football is another brand you need to check out if you haven't before. It is packed with logos, team logos, Nike swooshes, all sorts of cool memorabilia on card and autos, obviously. Just a ton of cool stuff. So check that out. It's coming out this week. It'll be in stores, by the time this thing releases. And then our interview today. We got to interview a guy I've been trying to talk to for quite a while. Again, our brand development team is always busy. This is how we get all those products out to you guys. But it's Keith Hauer. He is brand manager from our basketball team. I'm going to get a chance to talk to Keith about our Panini basketball cards, of course, about kind of his stay at Panini and other hobby-related stuff. So let's kick it over to the interview and go see what Keith had to say. Hey guys, I'm here with Keith Hauer, who is the brand manager from the basketball team, correct?
Correct.
Or is it
one of the brand managers?
One of it, right? I'm sorry, but when you introduce yourself and give a title, do you say basketball brand manager or brand manager from basketball?
Usually, it's brand manager from basketball.
Okay, all right.
It used to see it change because we used to just have one brand manager. But now we have a lot more products, so now we have more brand managers. So years ago, it was basketball brand manager. Now it's brand manager for basketball.
I like that. In my past career, I was a creative director, and so people would say, "Oh, you're the creative director." I'm like, "Well, I'm one of like 3 creative directors, but I am a creative director." So I totally get it, man. It's you guys have a big team. We put out a lot of products, but it's my favorite. Don't tell the other teams, but it's my favorite team to talk to, including even better than my own team, because you guys are in the trenches. You're creating these awesome products, and most of you guys are collectors.
Absolutely.
Which I really like. So, how long have you been at Panini?
I've been with Panini for a little over 11 years now.
Holy smokes!
I started in 2011.
Okay, checks out.
We were still doing the 10-11 release year. So
Nice.
I came in
Okay.
2 years after we got the basketball license.
Very cool. Have you always been on the basketball team?
I've always been on the basketball team. Now, I've worked on projects with some of the other teams, but since I walked in the door, I've been on the basketball team, yes.
Where were you prior to Panini?
So before I was at Panini, I was the basketball guy, fitting enough, at Beckett, or Beckett Media.
I'm seeing a reoccurring
Back
theme here,
then,
Keith.
yeah.
So you've always been a basketball
I have
guy.
done basketball for the last 22 years, yes.
My gosh, so are you a massive fan of the sport, or did you just kind of end up? Okay, all right.
I've always been a huge basketball fan. I mean, I love all sports, but basketball has always been my number one, yes.
Now, so you are a collector. Do you collect other sports, or you collect solely basketball?
I collect other sports too. With basketball, the stuff I collect is mostly historical pieces.
Okay, all right.
Pieces that probably don't mean a whole lot to other people, but they mean a lot to me.
Yeah.
Because I love the game and I'm a huge basketball historian.
Yeah.
But I also collect the New York Jets.
Very.
I had to level myself off a little bit there. I'm a huge Jets fan. I grew up in New York and moved here. I was about 10 years old when we moved to Texas. So.
Well, I know it's not their best season, but you guys are having a way better season than typical Jets seasons.
We'll take it. It's been about 10 years since we've been this excited, so we still can't figure the quarterback thing
I was going to say, who do you like as the starting quarterback?
We still can't figure the quarterback thing out, but we'll see if we sign somebody next year instead of try to draft, because we clearly can't do that. We cannot draft a quarterback.
I'm a Chiefs fan, so now everybody's like, oh, everybody's a Chiefs fan. But I was a Chiefs fan when they were horrible.
Yes.
And I survived decades of that. So let me just say, having been a fan of a team that has had a kind of a bad run, hang in there, man. You guys are going to get yours.
Sports trial by fire,
yes,
right?
for sure. You're going to get yours.
I'm hoping so.
It's all cyclical. Eventually, sometimes it's just one draft pick that comes in and turns a franchise around.
Just not a quarterback for the Jets.
We've been there.
They have career losing records. All the quarterbacks they've ever drafted.
Really?
I mean, combined. There's only 2 quarterbacks.
Like, there's Joe Namath, though.
He retired with a losing record.
Did he really?
He was 1 game on the losing side.
Oh my gosh!
Yep.
I had no idea that Joe Namath had a career losing record.
There's only
That's
2 Jets
sad.
quarterbacks that were drafted in the first round that have winning records.
Who are
And
they?
I bet you can't name them.
I can't. I'm sure
Mark
you.
Sanchez and Chad Pennington.
Okay.
That's it.
Sanchez. Interesting. Man, well, what a wild ride you guys have
So
had.
Jets, sign a quarterback. Don't draft one.
Jets,
Please.
if you're watching. Okay, so let's talk about products. What was the first product you worked on when you came to Panini?
So I did, in the theme of Trial by Fire, I walked in the door and they handed me National Treasure.
No way.
No joke. Like, I walked in and we packed out Gold Standard Basketball for that year.
Okay.
And a week later they said, we want you to run the pack out for National Treasures.
I mean,
said, I don't even know what we're talking about. And
because that was
my
yours
boss
too
at
for
the
National
time,
Treasures, right?
That would have been our third
Okay.
basketball release. It was a Steph Curry year. No. Steph Curry was before that. But
2009, yeah.
He'd be 2009, 10. So I was doing 10, 11. So that would have been either our second or third basketball release.
Oh,
and
man.
I remember I talked to Ben Eklar, was my boss at the time.
Okay.
And he was one that broke the news to me, and I sat there and I was like, dude, this is our most expensive product. Are you sure you want me to do this? And he just looked at me and goes, you'll figure it out. And that's how it happened. No, I had a lot of help. Ake helped me out quite a bit. David Porter was there to help me out, and a bunch of other guys. But it was pretty intimidating walking in the door and them handing me that right off the bat.
I've got to tell you.
It's not what I was expecting.
Well, my gosh, talk about pressure right off the bat. I own a copy of the 2010-11 Steph Curry.
Okay.
Just the base card from National Treasures. It's my favorite Steph Curry card.
Pretty awesome.
It's a beautiful design.
Yeah.
I think the RPAs from that year, that basketball year, the verticals, are maybe the best looking NT RPAs, in my opinion, from all years.
They're pretty classic, and we're starting to, I don't know if you've seen the last couple of years, we've actually done some of the throwback designs. I think this will be either our second or third year. I can't remember exactly when we started it. It all gets fuzzy during the pandemic there where everybody was at home and not in the office.
The time warp.
But yeah, we started bringing back some of those older ones, so I know for sure they'll be in National Treasures this upcoming year. They were in the previous year also. They'll be in this upcoming year as well.
10 and 11 RPA style.
I think we did 10 and 11 the first year we did it. I think we're up to like 12, 13.
Got it.
The Kyrie Irving year. I think that's the year we're doing this year.
Cool. Well, man, that was a great year. I'm going to sound like a goofball now. I can't remember who were the big pulls because the rookie class prior to that was huge with Curry and Harden. And Blake Griffin.
We had a blank year. We had a year when they were locked out.
Oh,
so the Kyrie Irving rookie year, the 12-13, we had 2 rookie classes.
No kidding.
We saved them. We only did 6 releases in that break in between there.
Okay.
And then we saved all the rookies for the following year, so we did a double rookie class.
Oh my gosh.
We released some XRC redemption cards in the middle there, and then we went full bore with twice as many rookies the next year. And that's where we started really taking off in basketball. Basketball had traditionally been number 3 of the 4 major sports. Hockey was the only one that was a little bit behind there, and that kind of catapulted it up to the forefront and started building the momentum up to where we're seeing right now.
Gosh, I always forget that we did hockey at one point.
Yeah, we did.
Did you ever work on any hockey products?
I knew the hockey guys because they also were from Beckett, had worked at Beckett.
Okay.
So we had a long history altogether, but no, I didn't get to work on any of the hockey products while I was here.
Can I take us on a quick tangent? And there'll probably be multiple tangents because I love basketball too. So I'm geeking out having an opportunity to talk to you about basketball cards. You mentioned XRCs. Do you think the 86 Fleer Jordan is the real rookie or his star XRC is his real rookie?
So I've always looked at the Fleer one, and here's why. Our policy at Beckett used to be that we would sit back and wait and see what the collector accepted as the true rookie card, as the most popular true rookie card.
Let the market decide on that.
That's the one we went with, and the market clearly chose that one. Now, in recent years, the star rookie card of the XRC, huge resurgence because for a long time it was hard to prove which ones were real and which ones weren't.
Right.
Because when the product released, the plates never got destroyed. So the plates circulated for a few years afterwards. There's only a handful of experts that can actually tell you which ones are authentic and which ones aren't. That's why it's safer to buy those as graded.
Yes.
Don't buy them raw if you can avoid it.
Well, and PSA recently started grading them again because they graded them right off the bat, and then they stopped because they realized they weren't 100% sure about some of them. But Beckett has been grading them all along, obviously, and I believe PSA will grade the 84s and the 85s, but they are not grading 86, if I have my facts right. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But so that means they would grade Jordan's XRC, which I think that could change the tide on this. I don't know. I love star basketball, so...
It was, you know what, and it was a different time too because part of it was how it was distributed, which is why it was labeled an XRC. Yeah. It was only available on the East Coast. There was no eBay, there was no internet, there was no, you just couldn't find it unless you were in the region where the cards were. You couldn't find it, so that played into it some too.
Yeah. Wasn't some of them distributed through the actual arena?
Yes.
Like the arena stores too?
They did team issues, and it was predominantly all East Coast teams.
Well, you know, the Mavericks team sets are like some of the hardest to find.
Because they made so few of them.
Right, because I think they printed a lot of them based on like projected interest in the team sets.
There was not much interest in the Mavericks back in the 1980s.
Having lived in Dallas for a while, do you like the Mavs now?
I do. You know what? And I moved here at the perfect time because our family moved here in 1988, and 89 was the year that the Mavericks took the Lakers to 7 games in the Western Conference Finals. So I was hooked, just like that. Got here in time for the 88-89 season, and boom, Mavericks fan since.
You've seen some fun seasons since then. Prior to that, there were some rough ones, but yeah, you've seen some fun seasons. What is your favorite product that you've had a chance to work on since you've been here?
I do every year. My favorite product is hoops.
Okay.
And the reason I like hoops is because it reminds you of the old boxes. There's a lot of cards, a lot of packs, a lot of stuff to collect, a lot of shiny stuff, you know, fun themes for the inserts. Always been my favorite open because it's so much fun. You cannot help but smile when you're opening a box of hoops.
I totally agree with that. And is it always our first basketball release for that season?
I want to say yes. It's always planned to be our first release.
Okay.
So as far as I know, since I've been here, it has been our first release every year.
And that's coming up soon, right? I want to say we have a hobby and the premium set coming out the same day.
It should be live later this week, actually. I believe it hits this week.
Sweet.
Yep. You have to double check me, but I'm pretty sure it hits later this week.
Do you remember the David Robinson in the 89 hoops set?
I do remember
it was
David
a big
Robinson.
Chase.
Yep.
That was
a big
fun.
trade card on the school bus on the way
Heck
to school.
yeah. I was going to say, that was the first year I really started collecting basketball cards. I remember Fleer and Hoops were the only 2 games in town.
Yeah.
And Hoops had that big Robinson because they didn't have him in Fleer. It was a big deal.
And it was a late release. It was the one where him holding the jersey behind next to the podium.
Yep.
Because they couldn't get an action photo in time.
Right. And then they put up like an update set, which had the actual action shot, I want to say, or at least him wearing the jersey. But, oh man, those were the days.
Not the actual 89-90 Hoops David Robinson rookie card. The one holding the jersey is it.
Yes, for sure. For sure. Agreed. What products are you looking forward to most in 2023?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I guess in addition to hoops, one of my other favorites, which is so far on the other end of the spectrum, is Noir. It's just because it's so different. It's not like anything we do. It ties in kind of, you know, pop culture, which basketball has always been tied to like that, you know, over the years. And it's just a different looking set. There's a lot of like black and white style cards, and we try to do it on almost like a Hollywood theater type set theme. So it doesn't look like anything else that we put out during the year. So I'm looking forward to that one, especially since you've got some of the guys like, I mean, we'll just throw Russell Westbrook out there, who's gotten really into the style of clothing. So the kinds of photos that are available to us of the guys showing up at the arenas and whatever they choose to wear, it's just something different. It's not like anything else that we put out. So I'm looking forward to Noir, and of course the high-end programs at the end of the year. They always look so great. We save a lot of our assets for it, so they get a lot of our memorabilia card. Immaculate has the shoe cards in it. It's the only place where we do the shoe soles, the tongues, the laces, the other pieces, and there's autographed versions of those as well. So, you know, when we come out to the end of the year, we've actually designed the season so it kind of builds up this crescendo to the end, where you start with hoops, which is like your base brand, and you'll mix in a couple of real premium sets, but it goes all the way up to the end where you finish with Flawless, and we still have to release 21-22 Eminence, which will be the end of this year's releases, and then it remains to be seen if we'll do Eminence again next year.
Talk to us about Eminence. It's such a wild product. It is. I've never even opened a box. I mean, most people have not opened a box.
I haven't opened them. I've packed them.
Okay. When you're packed, because that's one of the cool things about like the highest of high-end products that we do here. the product development team hand packs those out to make sure everything is the way it should be. And I mean, packing out Eminence, it's got to be like a kid in a candy store seeing those cards going in, right?
It's that, and it's nerve-wracking too.
I
because
bet.
you know that somebody's going to pay for that box, and they're going to open it up, and you've got to make sure that they're not disappointed.
Right.
So on the one hand, it's super cool to be there and see these cards that probably 90% of collectors are never going to see in person.
Yeah.
You know, they'll see them on online and photos and stuff, but most of us can't afford to buy those, so we never get to see them. But yeah, it's really cool to see them all laid out on the table. It's really nerve-wracking to put those boxes together.
I mean, is there ever like any arguments over, hey, you can't have those two cards in the same box, like we need to mix that up? Or I would just imagine that like trying to make sure every collector is excited when they open the box. Whether and some of that is like I could open a box and be excited, but like you might open it up and then your favorite players from your favorite team are in there, so you're not as excited. So it's so tough to make all collectors happy, but that's one of those products that's just like so cool.
I'll tell you the scenario that you laid out there. It's so great because our team is so talented and our guys do so much work and so much research, and they know, you know, the secondary market. They know what people are spending money, that we don't. I can say in my years here that we've never gotten into a scenario where it's like, oh, don't put those two together. It's like, yep, that'll work.
Perfect combo.
Everybody's on the level. You know, the guys, like I said, are so talented and they work so hard to know it that those situations tend to not come up.
Yeah,
which is a blessing at a pack out like that, because it's already tense to begin with because of what you're doing and the nature of it. Yeah,
I would imagine. Well, I mean I love our high-end products, and Scott Prusha was one of the first things he told me when I started here. He was like, it's an absolute miracle any of these products get to the point of distribution because of everything that had to occur in order for that product to get packed in there and out to consumers. And I mean, on the high-end products, there's even more that goes into that because, you know, you've got a lot of like hand-signed cards, and it's really incredible that you guys, you know, that you're seeing like National Treasures and Flawless and Eminence out on the market, because so much went into that, and Keith doesn't even have time to go into all of it, but it's a lot. And there's a lot of hands that touch them. Sure.
From the factory to the counting to the packing out to the boxing to the signing, the coming back. I mean, then they have to be put in cases. There are so many hands that touch them. It's amazing that the stuff gets out in the condition it gets out in.
It is incredible. Well, so you may have caught wind of this, but we have a really cool video coming out, and I can't give away all of the details on it, but we're following a specific card in the next Flawless basketball release.
Okay.
Kind of along the way from build and inception to build to pack out. We saw it get autographed. So I'm really excited for you guys to see this, because it not only gives you a cool behind the scene look at, you know, our manufacturing, but also kind of the journey of a card. And it is certainly the autographed cards have a really cool journey.
They do.
That they go through.
I think I know which card you're talking
about. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm talking
I won't say
such
anything
generalities
either.
here, but I want to open some cards with you while you're here.
Yeah, let's do it.
You're a basketball collector, so you like to open these as much as anybody. Contenders Optic just came out. Contenders Optic is it's your Contenders basketball kind of on steroids, right?
Yes, absolutely.
It's that jazzed up a little bit.
It's
and
like the super premium version of Contenders.
So let's open this up and get you going here. And we got Luca on the cover, so.
Of course.
All right, well, I wish you luck, sir.
Yeah, you too.
All
Cheers.
Right, cheers.
Let's do it.
The old box bump. Here we go.
You know what? Is this a top open?
There's a little lip right here.
There it is. I don't get to open many of these.
I know.
Once they're
I was like,
sealed.
I've got an advantage on you
We
because
get them
I
at the
opened
factory
up,
where
I
they
opened up
come
a
back
couple
out.
boxes of these before I wrote the blog on it. So, I always have to do my research.
All right.
So what is something that would surprise people to know about working on the product development team?
I think the discussion, the amount of thought that goes into it, because we've got the way they've got us set up, we're in a big room and we're throwing ideas around to each other nonstop. So I think the amount of discussion that goes into it, the amount of time we all spend working between teams and sharing ideas, and I mean it's an open forum back there to just share and I mean, when somebody finds something cool, you want to share it.
Sure.
And we all want to try to find a way to
teams,
incorporate
cross
it.
sports.
Yes.
Oh, that's...
Yep. So we've got everybody back there, and we're all kind of talking all day long. It's not quiet back there at all. There's your answer. It is not quiet back there. We're talking all day long.
Well, that's something David Porter, who was in a couple episodes ago, he had mentioned that I really loved knowing that you guys collaborate a lot, because I didn't know if each team was kind of siloed and the ideas were kind of kept for that sport because we want our sport to be different, or if that's all shared kind of fluidly and y'all are able to collaborate and share any good idea that comes along across all sports.
And I think it works to our advantage that certain things in certain sports, here I'll hold up my other base cards.
All right, nice.
Certain things in certain sports do better than others. So it's not like you have to kind of hold things to yourself or...
And a Del Curry auto there.
It's just knowing what's going to sell for your sport.
Got it. Who on the team, is there somebody who's like a mad scientist that you're like, my gosh, he's come up with some ideas or she's come up with some ideas that are mind-blowing and game-changing? There's a couple ideas that come along that kind of make your jaw drop. I can't think of any in particular right now, but I think everybody contributes pretty evenly. And what's really weird is by the time we come up with the concept or what we're going to put in the set, whether it's something new or something that we're kind of bringing back, a lot of times we don't remember where it originated because we'll just start this big discussion, and it'll just build into eventually what it ends up being. So the answer is yes. There's probably multiple.
I don't know that we'd say it's one single person, but the discussion's amazing. So it's a lot of fun. When
these conversations go, is it all the teams, or is there a couple of teams that typically meet, or how does that lay out?
So it depends on how we do it. What we typically do is we have a whiteboard.
Okay.
And we'll come in and we'll bring the previous year's product and we'll go through it and we'll talk about it. And what we'll do is we'll rotate who comes in. For basketball, we always had the basketball team. We'll bring in all of the directors and they'll sit in and talk, and then maybe say somebody on the football team built that product most recently, or two people did on a team there. We'll bring those guys in and we'll just bounce ideas off. So it's like a rotating group of people that we bring in to make sure that everybody has some say in at least some of the releases over the course of the year for the other sports. The sports they don't particularly work on. Yeah,
that's I love knowing that, and again, one of my favorite facts about the product development team here is that they're a bunch of collectors. So it's literally a bunch of collectors who are creative people and talented people that are designing cards for people like themselves. So, if they love it, it's going to bode well for the rest of us that are buying this product. So
100%. That's David Porter's favorite question when we sit down at a whiteboard. He always says when we're talking about something, he goes, yeah, but is this something you would want to buy? And he'll ask us that question and we'll think about it, and that's how we do what we do.
Yeah. Ooh, you got a nice rookie
I did. I was going to throw this out here. I got a Scotty Barnes uniformity card. I was saving that one for the end.
Rookie of the year. All right, and I got this is like a red ice. It is legendary tandems, and it's Clyde Drexler, Akeem Olajuwon.
Pretty legendary.
Right, that is very legendary. It's not the right Texas team, but they're pretty good.
It'll do.
These guys are pretty darn good. All right, well, before we let you go, I've got to ask you the question that I always ask the Panini team members when I have a chance to get a few minutes with you guys.
Sure.
About the 2018-19 Prism Black 1 of 1 Luka Doncic.
Yep.
It has yet to be
I'm guessing
made
it hasn't found its way into your collection yet.
I'm still searching for it. So, Keith, do you feel like that card is in a box, in a case, in a warehouse somewhere, like collecting dust? Is it in this Mega Moguls collection who doesn't care if he's posted it to his Instagram yet, and maybe he's waiting for Luka to win his MVP this year and then he'll post it? Or did maybe some young collector opening up 2018 Prism didn't understand how important those black borders were, didn't care about the Mavericks rookies, and maybe put that in a monster box somewhere with, what other rookies they didn't care about at the time, and that got passed up and has kind of been put away somewhere? Where do you think that card is?
That would be a heck of a find if somebody put it away
yes,
in a box somewhere.
In a monster box.
My guess is that it is such a big card that it has not come out yet. Because a lot of people are sitting on product now.
Yeah.
So I would bet that out of that entire run, somewhere between 60 and 70% has been open and 30 to 40% is still sealed.
Man, you think that much is still sealed, even with breakers?
I do.
Holy smokes! I want that to be true. That is my favorite answer for that question. I like if I was independently wealthy, I would literally start a show where all we do is open up like a case of that product a week until we find it.
Yeah.
But that's kind of cost prohibitive these days. But
yeah, right.
I am so intrigued by that card. It's funny because the Nebula 101 was pulled early on, like during that product cycle, and I'm friends with the guy who owns that on Instagram. And it's an amazing card, but the Black 101 is the card of Luka during his rookie year, in my opinion, and it still hasn't been made public. And I don't know, the mystique behind it at this point is just wild.
I think you still have a shot. I think it's still out there
So
somewhere.
If I had a show where all I did was opening up 2018 Prism hobby cases, would you tune in for that?
Absolutely. I would.
All right.
I don't know about anybody. I for sure would.
All right, I think I'd be there,
100%.
Our videographer here, Matt, would tune in too, so I'd have at least two people. He'd probably be shooting.
That's a good start.
Yeah, it is. Keith, thank you so much for your time, brother.
Thank you.
It was great chatting with you, man. Thank you. Anything you want to promote? Any social media handles, or you good?
No, I'm good. Let's keep going with the Panini stuff, and we still got hoops. We got hoops coming out this week.
Yes.
And then we have our big boys right at the end, Flawless Eminence. We still have Immaculate coming out. They're coming out shortly.
Immaculate is the first high-end brand that's coming out of basketball, right?
That's the next one coming out and that'll be the finish of the 21-22 season.
Is there any? Can you give us any teasers on crazy cards that are Immaculate? Any special like tongue cards or anything you've seen that's just like mind-blowing?
Yeah, and I'll let you know that all of those cards will be in there.
Okay.
There'll be the tongue cards. There'll be the laces cards.
Yes.
And there are also premium patch cards in first off the line. And there's sneaker swatch autographs first off the line as well.
And the premium, is that out of 7? Is that right?
Those are out of, I think they're 7 and 3. Don't quote me on it.
Nice.
I'll go back and look. We got a lot of sets, so I think they're 7 and 3.
Awesome. I love it. Keith Howard, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Jeff. I appreciate it.
See you guys next time.